Right, without further ado, let's jump in with our joint host, Lindsay Hartland, who is affectionately known, I believe, as Jocks. I think it might be because he's wearing the strap version this evening. So would you like to join me up here, please? I'm not allowed to call him the godfather of recruitment. I said that on my video this morning. Can we all give a round of applause for Lindsay?
Hi, everyone.
So Lindsay is the co-founder of Recruitment Founders Club and also Hanison Green. Just give us a little brief intro as to what you actually do.
So I founded Hanison Green about 4 years ago, which services the US medtech market, specifically neuromodulation. Anyone know that word?
Yeah.
You do?
You're not allowed to
4 years
answer.
ago, but apparently I'm an expert in it now. So founded that 4 years ago, just over 4 years ago. And then about a year ago with Greg Elton here, I co-founded Recruitment Founders Club, who are co-sponsoring this event.
Amazing. So you chose to go into a market, neuromodulation, and we will be asking questions later if you've been paying attention. You launched a very high-end, high-fee business. Why did you decide to do that? Because that wasn't your background. We need to contextualise. So give us a bit of...
It kind of was.
Right,
So
okay.
I'd always managed teams that I tried to work at a high level, as in director. Scarlett will know this. Scarlett, I recruited Scarlett years and years ago. She surpassed my career by a mile. But same for Greg. Brought them into a world where I tried to create an environment where we recruited high-end people like directors, VPs, that sort of thing. Because in my opinion, and I'll challenge anyone for this, I think it's easier to hire a more senior person than a junior person. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
So why would you not do a more senior market? So it's kind of a no-brainer for me, really.
So in terms of your strategy, you went for a market that you'd not actually operated within. And I'm obviously interested for people here that are thinking, well, I'm in a bit of a saturated pond here. I don't know if it's shooting fish in a barrel kind of market over there, but what would let's go back to your original strategy as to how you penetrated a market you actually didn't know anything about.
Work the best candidates in the market, period.
Talk us through that.
So I'm entering a market where I don't know anybody, I don't know the market, but more importantly, they don't know me. So they don't, excuse my language, give a shit if I'm ringing them up, telling them I'm the best recruiter they've ever heard from. Yeah. They've heard it all before, but if I show them a product and a candidate that is only working with me, and they're in the top 10% of like the candidate base out there, the only way they're going to get that candidate is through me. It's not about me then, it's about the candidate and the value that they can bring to that company.
So let's go back a step then. How are you getting those candidates that didn't know who you were to trust you with their career move?
Compliment them on their profile.
You look nice.
So,
That's a nice jumper. Is that what you mean?
well,
Sorry.
So I'm messaging them on LinkedIn so I can't see their jumper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at their profile, I'm going to see something I like, maybe they've had 3 promotions in 5 years or whatever, or they've shown loyalty, or they've had a lot of promotions throughout their career, whatever. I'm going to compliment them on that. I'm not going to pitch a job to them. I'm just going to talk to them about them and their career and their career aspirations and the fact that I'm an expert in their space and I'm niche with them and I want to get to know them. That's it. And then once you get them on the phone, it's about just building a relationship. And in the US market, I found it so easy to get a senior person on the phone and on a meeting compared to the UK. It's just...
Why is that? Why is it so different?
They're saturated.
Right.
Last time I checked, I think there's 20,000 recruiters in the UK.
30.
Okay.
That
means, if my maths is off, that means there must be about half of that. Like in the US.
Half of that's rec to rec, right?
Probably.
It's a joke. It's just doing the room.
There's half, I think there's circa half the recruiters in the US than there is in the UK, and they've got 5-6 times the population. Yeah. It's like, the UK is such a mature market, it's saturated, backstabbing, we all know it. The US, I think, because it's less saturated, it's a bit more respectful, you get treated with respect, people welcome you in. But don't get me wrong, you can't be an idiot or a dickhead, you've got to know your stuff, you've got to back up what you say you can do, but they invite you in quite quickly. To get a CEO on a meeting, it's easy like that.
Wow. But I also think that's because you have actually got, if they go and look at your profile, there's credibility there, right? You've already got 20 odd years in recruitment, and you are going in with a strategy that is about understanding who they are. You're not trying to just pitch them a job. I think that's the difference. Yeah. It's not disingenuous, and that's probably why they're happy to then engage with you. And I think that's something that we can all learn from, right? It's not going in thinking, right, I'm going to place this person.
Well, we all get peppered on LinkedIn, don't we? How many messages do we all get on a daily basis? 5, 10, 15, and they're all generic. There's not a single bit of personalisation to it. If you start your message talking specifically about them and their career and something, so you can't do that at high volume. Show me an AI tool that can do that, and I'll snap your hand off. But you've got to keep the volume low, but the quality, because the quality is super high. Your response rate is like 60.
Are you doing the video messages on LinkedIn? You know, the little video messages to them?
Are you selling that to me?
No, I'm genuinely interested. Is anyone else genuinely interested? Because when I get a cold video message, I mean, I'm the worst for video messages on WhatsApp. Who WhatsApps with me? I'm terrible with those little 60 seconds in things, but that's for people I know. But if I get a video message from someone I don't know on LinkedIn, I literally, I'm sorry, I'm that person, I ignore them. Because I think, who the hell are you?
Even if they personalise it?
Well, I don't know the personalised it. I don't click on it.
I'm going to say, hi Leisha. How you doing?
As long as it's not please man speak to the person responsible for. But I'm being serious, like, have you tried the different tactics? Like, have you used voice messages, or are you just talking like a written...
I've got to admit, I'm a bit of a dinosaur.
Oh, yeah.
Not as much as him though. But
they're different. Don't worry about that.
Now I'm a dinosaur, old school. It's just messaging, okay. And just really making it personal. So there's no way that person can ever think that it's generic. So I'm talking specifically about them, and it's such a simple thing. But the amount of generic stuff these people are getting, you cut through that crap straight away, and they respond like every time. Which
for me, if I'm thinking about what's the biggest threat to perm recruiters right now, or maybe any recruiter right now, is how AI and automation is going to take away that humanised element. And to me, that's where you're putting the human bit back in. Even if it's just pulling out, oh, we went to the same university. I'm just trying to think how each person here can walk away and go, right, what can I do to strategise, other than picking up their business and looking at something in America or Japan or wherever there's shooting fish in a barrel, because I think New Zealand's the same, right? There's very few per... I mean, here in the UK, you are literally competing in a saturated market. So on this topic, what piece of advice would you give to people that they can do tomorrow on LinkedIn to elevate themselves with their unicorn candidate?
Okay. On LinkedIn?
Well, I'm guessing, is that when most people are... Yeah, most people are nodding, or maybe you're not using it.
I think you've got to genuinely work hard to identify and build relationships with the best candidates. It's not. I just don't think it's rocket science.
I agree with you.
Well, you're a covert recruiter. Remember?
I'm a covert recruiter.
So that's how you built your business over the years. Yeah. But I'd encourage people to, anybody that's in a saturated market in the UK that is struggling for whatever reason, don't be afraid to make a change and actually enter into a different market. Like when I set up Hanison Green, I hadn't done a deal for 13 years.
Why weren't you sacked? I'm joking. It's a joke.
That's a very good question. I think I was in the end. No, managing through layers, but I was quite removed from the front line. So
you hadn't been billing, basically.
I hadn't been billing.
Well, that's respect then.
Correct. But the US market, a lot of people talk about the US market, but for me it's a no-brainer. And I know you haven't asked me that question, but I'd encourage anybody who's thinking about starting a new market to look at that space. It's not a cliche, it's very low barrier to entry. Salaries and packages are much higher. Everybody pays rate card, excuse my language, you're not having to bend over for 15, 20%. People pay 25, 30%. You can invoice on acceptance, yeah, but you can invoice on bonus. Like,
I would say sorry, yeah.
How many people have got this in their perm terms in the UK? We had an S3, didn't we, where you bill on the guaranteed income or the remuneration for the first year. How many times do you get away with it in the UK? I could probably count on like one finger. Yeah. US, it's standard, so if it's 200 base and it's a 200 bonus on plan, you can invoice on 400k, and if you don't do it, they'll remind you that you should. It's bonkers.
I think everyone's going out here tomorrow and going straight on.
It's just a really low barrier to, I've got no commission coming to me if I encourage people to go into the US market, but it's a no-brainer.
But this is why I invited you on, because I think everyone here will go, right, what can I do? Because actually, I personally believe that if you are an agile recruiter, you can pick up that process and put it into any market, anywhere. That is my opinion. Before you go, it would be remiss of me not to talk to you about Recruitment Founders Club, because there might be people here that are thinking in the future, maybe not now, but somewhere down the line, have I got what it takes to launch on my own? Am I an entrepreneur? You didn't even know what that word was. Who knows what intrapreneur is? Not entrepreneur. Intrapreneur.
Hands up, please, because I still don't know this. I feel bad.
I mean, really? So an entrepreneur is somebody that you have in your business that has creativity, has real, they have people that are inspired by them but have no desire to ever set up on their own. But you want to make sure you maximise their output and their productivity, and you want to keep them incentivised that they don't ever actually want to leave and then go and work for somebody else, but they'll never set up on their own. That's an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Is that right? Yeah.
Future competition is another way of looking at it.
Future competition. Love it. Lock them in. So, how do we know if we've got future? How do I know if I'm sat here now? Obviously not me, because I have got my own business, but let's just say somebody sat in the audience. What traits, what mindset do you think a founder needs to have? And then how do we nurture that ourselves?
Okay, I think there's just got to be a why. You've got to have a why. When I left S3, I wasn't craving to be an entrepreneur. I wasn't craving that. I just had enough of being employed, and I just wanted to do things on my own terms. So there's just got to be a reason there. I don't know, maybe you're fed up of billing 250k and then only a small percentage of that ends up in your own pocket, or you've been asked to behave in a way that doesn't sit well with your values. Because let's be honest, most companies are sales driven. You've got monthly targets or quarterly targets where you just got to hit them. With all the will in the world, they might want to look after their clients, but when push comes to shove, you've got to hit those targets. So maybe you've been asked to behave in a way that doesn't sit quite right with you, or you don't like your boss, you think you can do it better, you're fed up of being asked to come back in the office more. I think that's happening now in recruitment. I don't know, you just want to...
That was always going to happen, right?
Yeah. It's there now, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think, what I like there are the two words, it's values, and that's usually where people leave jobs full stop, and your why, your North Star, and I think it's believing in that.
It's the leap, it's moving from an environment where you're getting paid a salary every month, and it's comfortable, and I've been there, you're getting paid, you're probably well liked, well respected, but there's just something there that's really grating on you, that's just not going away, it's not going away.
Are we talking maverick then, or not? Maverick, yeah.
I don't know. There's just got to be a reason. And it's hard to pinpoint who that person is. But taking the leap is a big deal.
Yeah.
And I've got to be honest. I'm only sitting here talking about this because of COVID. Because if COVID hadn't have happened, I didn't have the guts to do it. I was 17, 18 years into the corporate world, and I knew I didn't like it, but I was comfortable. And it was only COVID that put me at a crossroads that forced me into making a decision. Do I want to go back to corporate, or do I want to set up my own business? And I'm thankful for that.
COVID has a lot to, answer for, but we have a lot to be thankful for as well. Before we let this lovely Jocks go, does anybody have a question for him?
Where's the nickname come from?
Shout that louder.
Where's the nickname from?
I grew up in Telford, which is a really shitty town, about half an hour from it. And
It's awful, isn't it?
it's rubbish, man. Do you live there?
No, I went to Thomas Halford though.
Oh yeah, it's shit, isn't it? It's full of knobheads.
So less now.
It's less knobheads there now, yeah, so I moved out a few years ago. So, what you might not know about Telford is, instead of calling somebody mate in Telford, you call them jockey. Oh, jockey, how you doing? I ain't seen you for ages, jockey. What you up to, jockey? So when I moved to Birmingham, naturally I started calling everybody jockey. They just flipped it on me, and then it just evolved from there to
I
Jay.
did not know that. Well, there you go.
That's it, mate.
Great questions, Aaron. Thank you. Well, can everyone give a round of... Oh, we've got one more question. I'm so sorry.
Oh, sorry, it's a serious question. You set up in America. Do you have to have different kind of? I mean, how complex is it to just suddenly just go into America?
It's not complex at all. It's super simple. You don't need anything other
When you
than
do social care and stuff, is it the same kind of thing? If you do care, recruitment for management, senior management.
Not sure I could comment on that. I'm recruited for senior management, but there's never been a single barrier to entry. You're going to need probably what's called a W8BEN form.
W8BEN.
This is the most complicated part about it. It doesn't cost you anything, it's free. You fill it in and you save it on your computer. Some American companies might ask you for that just to prove that you're a UK entity. Because the IRS otherwise might try and withhold some tax on your deal value. So a client might say, have you got a W8 form? Send it to them. It's literally no more complicated than that. Oh, and they love working with Brits as well.
Oh, we've got loads more questions now. Jay, you were saying.
I've done the American market myself and absolutely loved it. It's what you said, we called in from a British number and you found that you got such a receptive call straight away, like, oh my God,
Yeah.
you're British. And we were like at 35% as standard fees, and as you mentioned, it didn't even bat an eyelid at that. It was more proving who you can get them, doing it in time. But from the contract market, I've seen from my last job that that's also booming in America at the moment. So they just opened 2 offices up over there. Like, is that something that you've considered, or you're just sticking with perm now?
Never done it. I've never done contract.
I've done both, and like I prefer contract because it is more smash and grab, but it's just more consistent billings, I'd say. But in America, it's a completely different beast.
It's obviously more nuanced, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
you've got to find a way of like payrolling and having that setup, that commercial setup that works for all parties. But I've never done it. I can't comment on that. I've only done perm, nice and simple. Do a deal, invoice. Yeah.
I'm very conscious of time, so we're going to let Lindsay leave the stage, but if there's any questions, we have a lot of time at the end. Will you all give a round of applause, please? Thank you so much.